like books.
Books are great.
Let's
Guess
go
we'll read some books.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah, Ernie. What is it?
Would you still like me if I, had a tulip on my head and said rutabaga, rugabeta, rutabaga, rutabaga?
I'm sorry. I was reading my book. What?
Would you still like me if I, stood on my head and said rutabaga, 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 rutabaga?
Ernie.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking me if I would still like you if you had a tulip on your head, stood on your head, and said rutabaga, rutabaga.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Ernie, I guess I would still like you if you did all that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, go back to your book.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, have fun.
Thank you, Ernie.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah, Ernie.
Would you still love me if I, hopped on one foot and said potato, potato, potato?
If you said potato, potato, while hopping on one foot, would I still like you? Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would, Ernie.
Thanks, that means a lot. Just go ahead and back your reading.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah, Ernie.
Would you still like me if I, invited Satan to live with us?
If you invited Santa to live with us,
I
don't think we have room for all the elves, Ernie. I mean, what if they're making toys in here and stuff? We don't got that kind of room, Ernie.
I mean Satan. But what would you think if I let him live at our house?
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Every time I read the Gospels, I keep waiting for something to happen. Something specific that keeps not happening. I am waiting for a certain reaction from Jesus.
When the disciples ask him who's going to get to be his top-ranking right-hand man in the kingdom of God, I keep thinking Jesus is going to lean in close, place his hands on his beloved friend's shoulders, lovingly look them straight in the eyes, and say, "Are you kidding me? What is the matter with you? I cannot believe this!"
Rip in peace, headphone users.
Yeah, sorry.
Doesn't happen. Jesus isn't shocked by self-centeredness. Neither is he scandalized by others' moral behavior. Ever. He knows how we are. He knows how the human heart works. John 2 tells us Jesus didn't trust them because he knew human nature. No one needed to tell him what mankind is really like. Maybe those who seek to follow him could take that same approach.
Perhaps a big part of being less offendable is seeing the human heart for what it is. Untrustworthy, unfaithful, prone to selfishness. Got it. Now we don't have to be shocked. Jesus is not a cynic. He is never scornful, harmless, or jaded. It's purely about growing up enough to recognize just how messed up our world really is and how messed up humans are.
On one level, I do understand why people can react with horror at war crimes. For instance, we all intuit, deep down, that something is simply not right about innocent lives being lost. And yet, anyone who reads history knows that war, or murder, or injustice in general, is simply not the exception. It's the rule. Moreover, the last 100 years have given us no reason to think that things are getting better.
Two-whole world wars, National Hockey League, violent, cartoons with guns in them. It's just bad.
What? What do you have against hockey? You forgot Hugh Jackman. We humans are so persistently naive about this, which is why an article in the satirical online news publication, The Onion, I love The Onion, was so
satirical. Spread the word.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, almost every crazy headline with voting season right around the corner, it seems like every other post is just something outlandish and ridiculous about some politician. And I tell you, every single link on Facebook, I have to check down at the bottom to see, is this an Onion article? There's a couple other Onionese type articles, or type websites that I can't remember right now. But
yeah, there's one that just launched, the B something or other.
You mean Clickhole?
No, it's not Clickhole. The Clickhole is a satire site. Anywho, I'll promote it later. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Okay, The Onion was so spot on. The headline read, "Neighbors remember serial killer as serial killer." When asked about him, his neighbor said he had always seemed like the serial killer type of fellow. I probably don't need to unpack that, but here you go, just in case. The usual story is, I just can't believe he would ever do something like that. He didn't seem like the type.
What is the type to do something unthinkably horrible? The human heart is capable of staggering evil, and evil people rarely dress in horns and a pitchfork, even if it would make it easier for us to identify them. This is one reason the TV show Breaking Bad was so brilliant. Rarely does entertainment, or literature for that matter, so realistically show how someone, even a boring chemistry teacher, can justify his way to unspeakable crime. But that's the world as it is, according to the smartest man who ever lived, Jesus. I mean, Stephen Hawking. No, I'm kidding.
What? No. He knows the human heart, and so should we. We can quit being shocked and adjust our expectations accordingly. Perhaps you've noticed Hugh Jackman keeps making movies. Jesus encountered one moral mess after another, and he was never taken back by anyone's morality. Ever. I can't find any stories, maybe you could find one, where Jesus sees an immoral person and says something like, wow, okay, just wow. Well, that is really disgusting. That is just too much.
We don't need to read the pull quote. Yeah. My wife Carolyn and I had a discussion regarding someone we both have known for many years. She said something like, I can't believe she did that, and I agreed. We were just amazed by this person's refusal to be honest, and whoa, wait a second. We can't believe she did that? She has done exactly that for 30 years. Now that I've noticed it, I hear this so often from radio callers. I can't believe my mom did this, or I can't believe my sister would. And I ask,
really? You can't believe it?
With your eyebrow firmly raised above your forehead.
Now listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I propose that we shouldn't be shocked and amazed if someone who does that thing, does that thing again. So how about taking this idea to all of our experience? You really can't believe politicians would lie. You really can't believe a preacher would cheat. You really can't believe someone would try to steal from you. You can't believe a neighbor would set off fireworks at 2 a.m. You can't believe a world leader would tyrannize his own people. Are we going to live in perpetual shock at how wet the water is?
Exactly. I would correct you, but that's exactly what he's saying here. We're shocked by the shit of the world, but it's just like a fish being shocked at how wet the water is constantly. We're immersed in it.
My job has taught me a lot about this. Imagine speaking each week to more than 6 million people.
That is hard enough, but throw this in the mix. It's a Christian music station, which means everything I say will be viewed through the lens of...
Did he say that the right way?
I'm constantly offending people. And they've all got phones.
They've all got phones.
This section's gold. One day we talked about the local forecast. It'll be warmer than it should be for this time of year, I said. Normally the high is 72, but today a high of 82.
The phone rang.
I was really disappointed to hear your forecast. It's not going to be warmer than it should be because God ordains the weather, and it's going to be exactly what he wants it to be today. Very disappointing.
I'm sorry you were disappointed by this.
A bit later, I played my accordion on the air. Some say this is artistically offensive, sure, but it's all in fun.
It's a goofy karaoke bit where people get to pick a hit from our station or an 80s song and then awkwardly try to sing along with me. One day, we did both. The phone rang. I noticed you sounded a lot more practiced when you played that 80s song.
Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins, which is an awesome song, by the way.
Yes, it was very disappointing that you didn't play the godly song as well as you play the worldly songs. You apparently don't want to practice unless it's a worldly song. I am posting this all over my Tumblr.
Wait, so I played Danger Zone too well.
I'm really disappointed in what the station is doing, glorifying worldly things. You shouldn't glorify the world like that.
With my accordion.
Another phone call. I'd just like to say I listen from 7 to 8 a.m. every morning, and it's disappointing.
I'm sorry, what's disappointing?
I have yet to hear you say anything about Tim Tebow or his father's fantastic ministry.
Actually, now that I think of it, I just happened to talk about Tim Tebow on yesterday's show. And I said something about how I appreciate his attitude when it comes to...
Yeah, but it wasn't between 7 and 8 o'clock.
Has to be when I listen.
When I listen.
Doesn't matter when other people listen, when the other 5,599,000,000 listen.
Ask anyone who works in Christian radio and you'll get similar stories. Being told you're disappointing is a way of life. It's enough to make someone quit. Unless, and here's a big, beautiful unless, we just decide to quit being offended.
I gotta brace myself for the next page. It takes a lot of strength to look at it.
Here's an email I got recently.
Not gonna comment on the grammar. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Okay, so what voice should we give this person?
I can't look at it, sweetie.
Okay, I'm gonna do voice. You tell me if you can figure out who I am. Yeah, I've listened to your show many times, and I can truthfully say is that I know the devil smiles every time you pick up the mic. I mean, where should I start? I've heard you quote Stalin, a dictator, a mass murderer, and a known Satanist in a positive way. You actually told your listeners tattoos are not an issue. You are a theological mess, and I could possibly get past the stoner Bert and Ernie shtick and coy flirtations with the women that call if you ever had one intelligent or spiritual thing to say. But you don't. You come up with mindless, meaningless, worldly, spiritually bankrupt topics to discuss, and the other lukewarm, undecided followers out there eat it up. What a shame. You have such an opportunity to help change lives, and you use it like an apostate.
Thank you for saying YOU, though. Thank you for actually typing it out. Can you please go back and change the rest? Pretty please?
And then it got worse. This stuff happens. In truth, the flirting allegation stung a little bit. I'd never heard anyone say that before, and I don't ever want to come off that way. In person, I wouldn't know how to flirt if I wanted to. My wife and I have always laughed about this. The Stalin thing was baseless. I'm still not sure I understand the Bert and Ernie thing. Scholars may spend years unpacking the Bert and Ernie thing.
Anyway, I hope the lady who wrote that was okay. Used to be I'd be mad about it and write something back to win an argument. Or another idea I toyed with, a one-sentence response.
So should I put you down as a station supporter for $40 a month?
Now, since encountering the reality of God's grace for me, I honestly feel for her. Maybe I've just seen it all now. I'm not shocked. He's not offended. Because he knows that that's what the human heart is. It's going to be offended by everything. It's not just working in Christian radio either that makes me feel like people are just broken by nature. I worked in mainstream formats, like talk radio. I've had thousands of conversations with people, heard by millions of others. And once again, it turns out, people are judgmental and self-righteous by default. I am too. So there's nothing exceptional about the aforementioned email, except that the listener's deft combination of references to Joseph Stalin, Bert, Ernie, and Satan. I'm not shocked anymore. I want to be like Jesus. No one needed to tell him what mankind is really like. So humans are judgmental. Okay, established. There are self-righteous people who self-describe as Christians, and there are self-righteous people who self-describe as atheists. They're self-righteous about different things, sure, but it's a very human thing to the core. That caustic email? I had to let it go. People are messed up. I know this because I talked to millions of them, and I'm messed up. This should not be daily news. I can't believe how crazy these people are. I've had to adjust my expectations and stop being offended.
Stop being offended.
Which makes sense. Like the fact that I'm not offended by your choice not to turn the page.
Look, you have free will, and you can be perpetually shocked and offended. But be honest, isn't that kind of exhausting? This is not cynicism. This is living with realistic expectations. The very same understanding of our nature that Jesus has. Well, are you offended by my choice to maybe continue with this next time when we read?
No.
Are you?
Wouldn't.
You can't believe it?
No.
You can't believe that I would end
literally
the
cannot
episode
believe
here
it.
at the 14-minute mark.
Dang!
Yeah.
Still can't believe it.
One day it occurred to me that we watch way too much TV of video games and DVDs, while good and fun are just empty. About that time Karen came to me and she confessed that she'd like us to read, and for our family's sake she began to plead. And since I can't get by on my looks, we agreed and said,
Let's go read some books.